Bruce Lee's philosophy of strength, flow, and self-expression. He was a dragon in human form, a man who moved like lightning, thought like a sage, and lived like a poet. Bruce Lee was more than a martial artist, more than a movie star. He was a philosopher whose ideas reshaped the way we see strength, adaptability, and the human spirit. His life, brief but blazing, left a legacy that burns brighter with time. This is the story of Bruce Lee's philosophy, a journey through pain, discipline, and the relentless pursuit of self-expression. Welcome to Bruce Lee's philosophy of strength, flow, and self-expression. 1. The Spark of a Dragon. Bruce Lee was born Lee Jun Fan on November 27, 1940, in San Francisco's Chinatown, during the Year of the Dragon. Raised in Hong Kong, he grew up in a world of contrasts, privilege and struggle, tradition and rebellion. His father, a Cantonese opera star, gave him a glimpse of performance. His mother, a woman of grace and strength, instilled resilience. But the streets of Hong Kong shaped him most. By age 13, Bruce was scrappy, quick-tempered, and already caught in gang fights. "I don't want to be a star. I want to be a force." Young Bruce was no stranger to conflict. Hong Kong's crowded Kowloon district was a battleground, and he learned early that survival meant standing your ground. At 13, after a street fight left him bruised, he sought out a teacher, Ip Man, a master of Wing Chun Kung Fu. Under IP's guidance, Bruce found more than punches and kicks. He found discipline, focus, a way to channel his restless energy. Wing Chun's precision and economy of movement spoke to him, a philosophy of efficiency that would define his life. But Bruce was restless. By 18, his street fights and defiance had made enemies. His parents sent him back to America, to Seattle, with $100 and a dream. He was a teenager, alone, in a country that saw him as an outsider. Yet, even then, Bruce carried a spark, an unyielding belief that he was destined for greatness. His philosophy began here. Strength isn't just physical. It's the courage to forge your own path, no matter where you stand. 2. The outsider in America. America in the late 1950s was no welcoming place for a young Chinese immigrant. Bruce arrived in Seattle with little more than his martial arts and his ambition. He worked as a busboy, lived in a cramped apartment, and enrolled at the University of Washington. But the racism he faced was relentless: slurs, exclusion, the constant reminder that he didn't belong. Don't think, feel. Bruce turned inward. He studied philosophy, devouring the works of Lao Tzu, Nietzsche, and Alan Watts. He began to see martial arts not just as fighting, but as a way of understanding life. He taught kung fu to anyone who would learn, black, white, young, old, breaking the tradition that martial arts were for Asians only. His students saw not just a teacher, but a visionary, a man who moved with purpose. At 21, Bruce opened his first martial arts school, the Jun Fan Kung Fu Institute. He taught with intensity, blending Wing Chun with his own innovations. He wasn't just teaching kicks and punches. He was teaching a mindset. Be formless, he told his students. Adapt. Flow. But America wasn't ready for him. Hollywood saw him as too Asian for leading roles, too small, too different. Bruce's strength wasn't just in his fists. It was in his refusal to let rejection define him. 3. The birth of Jeet Kune Do. By his mid-20s, Bruce was restless again. Traditional martial arts felt rigid, dogmatic, like chains on his spirit. He began to question everything: Wing Chun, karate, the rules of fighting itself. In 1967, after a sparring session that left him frustrated with his own limitations, Bruce had an epiphany. He needed a system that was free, fluid, alive. Be like water, my friend. This was the birth of Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist. It wasn't just a martial art, it was a philosophy. Jeet Kune Do rejected tradition for truth, dogma for practicality. Absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is uniquely your own, Bruce wrote. He drew from boxing, fencing, wrestling, even dance, creating a system that was as dynamic as he was. Jeet Kune Do was Bruce's rebellion against limitation. It was about flow, adapting to the moment, moving with life's unpredictability. He taught his students to be present, to respond without hesitation, to express themselves fully. This wasn't just about fighting, it was about living. Bruce's philosophy took shape. Strength comes from freedom, from shedding what holds you back and embracing what makes you whole. 4. The Hollywood struggle. Bruce Lee's dream was to share his philosophy with the world, and Hollywood was his stage. But the path was brutal. In the 1960s, Asian actors were relegated to stereotypes, servants, villains, or comic relief. Bruce landed a role as Kato in The Green Hornet in 1966, stealing scenes with his charisma and speed. But the show was canceled after one season, and Hollywood shut its doors. To hell with circumstances, I create opportunities. Bruce refused to wait. He returned to Hong Kong, where a new wave of kung fu films was emerging. In 1971, he starred in The Big Boss, a low-budget movie that became a sensation. His raw intensity, his lightning-fast moves, captivated audiences. Enter the Dragon followed in 1973, a Hollywood-Hong Kong co-production that made him a global star. Bruce wasn't just acting, he was embodying his philosophy. Every kick, every scream was a statement of self-expression, a refusal to be confined. But behind the success was pain. Bruce worked himself to exhaustion, writing, directing, choreographing, training. He faced criticism from traditional martial artists who called him a sellout. He battled racism from studios that doubted his star power. Yet, he pushed forward, driven by a vision of a world where strength and individuality could inspire. 5. The price of intensity. Bruce Lee lived at a fever pitch. His discipline was unmatched: daily workouts, strict diets, endless study. He pushed his body and mind to their limits, believing that true strength came from testing yourself relentlessly. But this intensity came at a cost. The key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering. In 1973, while working on The Game of Death, Bruce collapsed from heat exhaustion and cerebral edema. Doctors warned him to slow down, but he couldn't. His drive was insatiable, his vision too big. On July 20th, 1973, at age 32, Bruce Lee died suddenly from a cerebral edema, likely triggered by a reaction to medication. The world was stunned. The dragon was gone, but his flame burned on. His death sparked myths, conspiracies of poison, curses, jealousy. But the truth was simpler. Bruce lived too fiercely for one lifetime. His body couldn't keep up with his spirit. Yet, even in death, his philosophy endured. He showed us that strength isn't just surviving. It's living fully, fearlessly, in every moment. 6. The philosophy of flow. At the heart of Bruce Lee's philosophy is flow. Be like water, he said, a phrase that has become a universal mantra. Water adapts, it moves, it finds a way. It's soft yet unstoppable, gentle yet powerful. This was Bruce's approach to life. Fluid, resilient, free. You must be shapeless, formless like water. Jeet Kune Do was the embodiment of this idea. It wasn't about rigid forms or fixed techniques. It was about responding to the moment, trusting your instincts, being true to yourself. Bruce taught that life, like a fight, requires adaptability. You can't control the chaos. You can only flow with it. This philosophy extended beyond the dojo. Bruce applied it to his relationships, his career, his struggles. When Hollywood rejected him, he flowed to Hong Kong. When tradition constrained him, he created his own path. His life was a testament to the power of flow, embracing change, letting go of ego, becoming one with the moment. 7. The power of self-expression. Bruce Lee was a master of self-expression. Every move, every word, was a declaration of who he was. He refused to be boxed in by race, by tradition, by expectation. His films weren't just entertainment. They were a canvas for his soul. Don't get set into one form. Adapt it and build your own. In Enter the Dragon, Bruce's fight in the Hall of Mirrors is more than choreography. It's a metaphor. He shatters illusions, confronts his own reflection, and emerges victorious. This was his life, Facing himself, breaking barriers, creating something new. He inspired others to do the same, to find their voice, to express their truth, to live without limits. Bruce's students, Chuck Norris, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Steve McQueen, saw him as more than a teacher. He was a guide, showing them how to be authentic in a world that demands conformity. His philosophy of self-expression resonates today in artists, athletes, and anyone striving to be their true self. 8. The global legacy. Bruce Lee didn't just change martial arts. He changed the world. His films brought kung fu to the masses, sparking a global craze. But more than that, he broke stereotypes. He showed that an Asian man could be a hero, a star, a philosopher. He inspired generations to embrace their identity, to fight for their place. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. From Hong Kong to Hollywood, from gyms to philosophy classes, Bruce's influence is everywhere. Mixed martial arts owes its existence to his vision of blending styles. His writings, the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, are studied by thinkers and fighters alike. He became a symbol of defiance, of breaking free, of living with purpose. In 1999, the U.S. Postal Service honored him with a stamp. In 2005, a statue of Bruce was unveiled in Hong Kong. His ideas live on in every person who dares to adapt, to create, to express. Bruce Lee's philosophy is universal. Strength is not just power. It's the courage to be yourself. 9. Lessons that endure. Bruce Lee's life was a masterclass in living. His philosophy, distilled through pain, discipline, and vision, offers lessons that speak to us all. Here are his most powerful insights. On strength. The successful warrior is the average man, with laser-like focus. Lesson. Strength isn't about size or power. It's about focus, discipline, and relentless effort. On flow. Be like water, making its way through cracks. Lesson. Adapt to life's challenges. Flow with change, and you'll find a way forward. On self-expression. Always be yourself. Express yourself. Have faith in yourself. Lesson. Your greatest power is your authenticity. Don't imitate. Create your own path. On resilience. Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. Lesson. Life's challenges are inevitable. Resilience is choosing to face them with courage. These are not just words. They are a blueprint for living boldly, for embracing the struggle, for becoming more than you are. 10. The Dragon's Flame. Bruce Lee died at 32, but his spirit never faded. He was a comet, brief, brilliant, unforgettable. He showed us that life is not about how long you live, but how deeply you live. His philosophy, strength through discipline, flow through adaptability, power through self-expression, is a gift to the world. If you love life, don't waste time, for time is what life is made up of. Bruce Lee was more than a fighter, more than a star. He was a teacher who showed us how to move, how to think, how to be. His life was a fight, not just against opponents, but against limitation, doubt, and fear. He taught us to be like water, to flow with life's currents, to carve our own path. As you walk your own journey, carry Bruce's lessons with you. When life pushes you, flow. When doubt creeps in, express. When the world says no, create your own yes. Because, like Bruce Lee, you are more than your struggles. You are a dragon. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Bruce Lee's philosophy. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories of wisdom, courage, and human triumph. And until next time, keep flowing, not just to survive, but to thrive.